Because maybe you don't know, maybe you never heard about it before, but I tell you now a secret. I told it already today in pranayama. Because we think we have to work so hard, we have to do everything that Krishna sees us, we have to do everything that we please Krishna, and if we fail, if we follow our maya, and if we don't practice pure devotional service, and if we offend devotees, then Krishna will hate me. No, Krishna loves you. That's the biggest secret.
Welcome to the oldest spiritual podcast, the Bhagavad Gita Podcast.
Sanjaya said, "Thus have I heard the conversation of two great souls, Krishna and Arjuna. And so wonderful is that message that my hair is standing on end." Purport. In the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, Dhritarashtra inquired from his secretary Sanjaya, what happened on the battlefield of Kurukshetra? The entire study was related to the heart of Sanjaya by the grace of his spiritual master, Vyas. He thus explained the theme of the battlefield. The conversation was wonderful because such an important conversation between two great souls had never taken place before and would not take place again. It was wonderful because the Supreme Personality of Godhead was speaking about himself and his energies to the living entity, Arjuna, a great devotee of the Lord. If we follow in the footsteps of Arjuna to understand Krishna, then our life will be happy and successful. Sanjaya realized this, and as he began to understand it, he related the conversation to Dhritarashtra. Now it is concluded that wherever there is Krishna and Arjuna, there is victory. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Svabadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyade Shatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Just don't know what this is, the bookmark fell out. And the first word was Gebrauchsanweisung, means manual. How is a manual? A manual. So I thought like fitting to the Bhagavad Gita, the manual of life. If we buy some new stuff nowadays, all this technology is so advanced, we need to use the Gebrauchsanweisung, the manual. Otherwise, we can get in trouble very easily. In the same way, we should use this manual here. And this is not any manual written by some unimportant guy who just invented some new technology to keep us more in our illusion of body and mind. No, this was the manual spoken, like it says, was the important conversation between two great souls, had never taken place before and would not take place again. The Bhagavad Gita was the original podcast. And others have so many podcasts, find them everywhere. But Bhagavad Gita was the original and the oldest podcast. And this conversation happened 5,000 years ago. And something like this will never take place again, it's written here. Between two friends, Arjuna and Krishna. And Prabhupada writes, then it is concluded wherever there's Krishna and Arjuna, there's victory. Yatra Yogeshwaro Krishna. Krishna is the controller, the Ishvara, the ruler of all yogis, of all mystic cities, of all mystical perfections. Yatra Pada Danudaraha. Arjuna, Pata, son of Pata Arjuna. He is the biggest archer. And Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhutir. And wherever there's Krishna and Arjuna, the supreme mystic and the supreme archer, the supreme warrior, there will be Shri, opulence, Jai, Vijay, victory, Bhutir, what is Bhutir? Morality, need here, opulence, and Shri, beauty.
No, Shri is opulence.
Shri is opulence. Fame. Fame. Yes, fame and Tuva Nitir Matir Mata. Yeah, there's Niti, morality. Yeah, so there will be fame, morality, opulence, and victory, wherever there's Krishna and Arjuna. When I read this the first time, I was like, yeah, actually, that's it. Yeah. Like, also Krishna says in one point, coming soon, or was before, that whoever studies this conversation between Krishna and Arjuna, he uses his intelligence in spiritual matter, in devotional service. So, to use our intelligence, we should just study this conversation between Krishna and Arjuna to be victorious in life, to overcome the obstacles of life. We should listen to this conversation between Krishna and Arjuna. If you want to become famous, if you follow morality, your duty, your dharma, if you want to experience opulence, everything you desire will happen by just studying this conversation between Krishna and Arjuna. But it's not about all this intelligence and opulence and fame. That's not our goal. And the Bhagavad Gita is written in a way and also translated in a way that many people can understand it in a wrong way, or apply it in a wrong way, or even give it in a way that it becomes misguiding. But it's not true. Like, how is his name? Not Dalai Lama, the Mahatma Gandhi. He also read the Bhagavad Gita, and he says Bhagavad Gita is about non-violence. And how can you say it's about non-violence when this whole Bhagavad Gita was spoken in the front of a battlefield, in the middle of a war, the biggest war in history? Or we have, when we read other translations of the Bhagavad Gita, we hear the Bhagavad Gita is about the Brahman to emerge with the impersonal effulgence of the Lord. Or it's the understanding of the yogis that will be written about pranayama and yoga and Ashtanga yoga. For myself, when I read the Bhagavad Gita, when I was as a monk, brahmachari, sankirtan, traveling, book distribution on the street, on the battlefield, I felt like this book is written for people who are on the street the whole day to try to give this knowledge to others. Like, everything was written, how to be balanced, how to be equipoised, how to follow your duty, how to be happy, how to be controlled, how to control your mind, how to sit, how to talk, how to walk, everything, like from beginning till end. Like, my whole day was reflecting in the Bhagavad Gita. And at the end of the day, I did my service, I was so purified, I opened the book and Krishna was talking to me. I felt like, wow, like I'm kind of Arjuna and I get the instruction. I'm in the podcast, I'm part of it. Then a few years ago I started the process of Ashtanga yoga and focusing more on asanas and pranayama. And I read the Bhagavad Gita and all of a sudden, wow, Krishna is exactly talking what I need to hear right now. I never saw it before, like 5th chapter, 6th chapter. It's so elaborately discussing how to meditate, how to sit, how to breathe. All of a sudden I was like, wow, it's like a completely different book. Yeah. Then recently I focus more on understanding what is bhakti. Yeah. Where do I stand in my process of devotional service? And then I thought about the 11th chapter, what is, right before the 12th chapter, devotional service. And the 11th chapter is about the universal form. And many people, many devotees don't like this chapter so much. It's a little bit boring, and Krishna shows his opulence, and But if you think about it, this chapter is so important because Arjuna wants to see Krishna how he is, and then he sees him, and then he first time realizes, oh my God, I thought you my friend, I thought you my buddy, my cousin. I was joking with you, I was fighting with you on the bed and whatever, and I treating you like one of mine, like equal, and I now realize you're the supreme. And then Krishna revealed his universal form, and Arjuna got actually terrified. All of a sudden, it's like, how can you worship the universal form? Our Gurudev says, how can you worship an ant? How you want to dress an ant? How you want to put some clothes on an ant? How you want to, feed an ant? He said, it's the other extreme, an ant or the universal form. We can't relate to the universal form. It's so difficult to have a connection. And then Arjuna says, please, Krishna, okay, enough. Can you show me your four-handed form? And then he saw Vishnu and four hands. But then he said, actually, I want to see Shyamasundara form. Please show me your form, your real form. I don't want to see anything else. And this is a sign of bhakti, especially bhakti to Krishna, Vrindavan Krishna. And Arjuna just wanted to see his friend again. The chapter, also Prabhupada writes here shortly, the question, what happened on the battlefield of Kurukshetra? Dhritarashtra Uvacha Dharma Kshetra Kurukshetra. On the battlefield of Dharma, of religion. Why is Kurukshetra called the battlefield of religion? Sounds contradictory. A battlefield, people die, and it's a holy place. Even now, people go there, it's a holy place. There's many occasions, the Rath Yatra, the first Rath Yatra, where the gopis met Krishna again. And there was a king Kuru, and he got the benediction. Can't remember exactly the story, but the benediction at the end was that whoever dies there on the battlefield in a war, in a battle, in a fight, following his duty, and who performs religious activities, and he leaves his body there, he will get liberation. So this battlefield was chosen, also it was very remote, so it was not a battle in the middle of a city where people get, collateral damage. So, and also the warriors, they were very honest and truthful to their principles. They were only fighting during the day. As soon as the sun was setting, they stopped fighting. And sometimes even they met later and they eat with each other and they said, oh my God, you were so strong today, you almost killed me. And it did a very honorable relationship. For us, we can't even think about it, imagine it. Nowadays, you just press a button and poof. Or you have a gun or something. It's like, we are cowards nowadays. In these times, and you might say, these warriors, and how can it be? This is Bhagavad Gita, the most religious book in Indian history, in Vedic culture, and how can it be the essence of the Vedas, and then it's described in the middle of a war, before a war? You might ask this question. But this would lead to another question, why this war happened at the beginning. Just to mention it shortly, it was in this time, it says the earth, Mother Bhumi, was burdened with the sinful activities of human race. The earth was so heavy that she couldn't bear anymore this sinful activities. And in this time also, many demoniac entities appeared in this time, because it was right before Kali Yuga, the Dark Age. So they came to even create more disturbance in human society. So the Devatas, the demigods, they appeared to support the Lord in his mission. And everyone who got slain on the battlefield, they all got liberated at the end. They didn't lost anything. And of course, in this whole battle, only 12 people survived. From 18 Akshahinis, this was like 12,060,000 thousand soldiers, or more even, I can't remember. 120 million.
I heard like 640 million or something.
I just read the number recently somewhere. But it's a huge number, and we can't even imagine. And when you hear this, it's all I say, fairy tales. But lots of these places, you can still visit them, and you can still feel the potency, the energy. And when you read about these personalities, you can connect to them, you can feel it. It's not just like, okay, maybe it's true. You can really, it changes something inside of you. All of a sudden, you want to also follow them. You want to be more pure, more dutiful, more responsible, more religious. And then it goes deeper and deeper, depending in which context you see the Bhagavad Gita. There's three transcendentalists who read the Bhagavad Gita, who try to understand the Bhagavad Gita: the Jnani, the Yogi, and the Bhakta. Jnani is about mental speculation, meditation, liberation, and the Yogi is already like Jnani, Brahma, to connect to the Brahma, get liberated, the platform of Sat, to be eternal. But then the yogi already wants to go deeper. He understands Ishvara Pranitan, there's Ishvara in my heart, and then I want to worship this Supreme. And he practices mystical yoga to get perfection, to realize God within the heart, Paramatma. Then he has Sat Chit, and he gets the, stage of eternity and full of wisdom and consciousness. And then Ananda, and Ananda is only possible by connecting to Bhagavan. Bhagavan is the one who possesses the 6 opulences. Most famous, the most knowledgeable, the most renounced, the strongest, most beautiful, and the richest. This is only one. It's only Krishna. Krishna is so beautiful. Everyone who looks at the sun, at the moon, at the nature is so beautiful. Everyone who looks at other people is so beautiful. Everyone you see in the Shingadevi on the altar is so beautiful. So you can see the beauty of flower. How now it's like the spring, and you can see every day more and more. Okay, now was 1 week of hail and snow. All of a sudden it was already summer, then back to winter. But that's material life. But you can see slowly the flowers are blossoming, and everyone becomes happy and joyful, and the animals come out, and you can hear the birds chirping, and you can feel it's the beauty of Krishna. But then you see God personified. Imagine you can have a darshan, a vision, you can see God in front of your eyes. Like Dhruva Maharaj we hear every day in Srimad Bhagavatam class. And the only thing, he saw Krishna and he said, "Oh my Lord, I prayed for broken glass and now I found a diamond." He's the most famous. Everyone heard about God, right? There's no one in this world who didn't hear about God. And Prabhupada says at one point, to become Krishna conscious means it starts when you ask yourselves, is there more in life than this only lifetime? Is there more than this body? Is there something beyond? When this question starts, then you become Krishna conscious. Even if you're an atheist or a Buddhist or a Christian or a Hare Krishna, doesn't matter what you are. But when you start this question, hey, who am I? Who is God? Do I have a relationship with Him? Then Krishna will see, oh, he's interested. He tries to pull you back. He's the most knowledgeable. He's everywhere present. Maybe I can read your thoughts. Maybe I have superpowers. I know your mind. I can read your face. You're depressed today. You ate too much. You're happy. You're chanting and dancing the whole day. Maybe I can tell. But I can't tell everyone in this room or everyone in the world or exactly know what they did in past, present and future. But Krishna knows. What else we have? He's the the strongest. All the planets he carries in the universe. For us, it's heavy. Lift this ammonium up. It's really heavy. But Krishna lifts everything, carries everything. Even the earth burdened with the sinful activities of human race. Krishna carries them very easily. He's Yogeshvara. He's the supreme mystic. Strongest we had, most famous, most beautiful, most knowledgeable, the most renounced. And even though Krishna has everything, he's not attached to it. Like when we come here in this world, we get influenced by the modes of nature. But Krishna, he creates it. He is never influenced. He's always aloof. And even he could enjoy everything, but he doesn't need anything. He's Atmaram. He's self-satisfied in himself. You can see at the Rasa dance, for example. Krishna enjoyed with the gopis and they become proud, and then he said, okay. And he detached and it just disappeared. To just help them to come out of their pride. There's one missing. What is missing?
You didn't mention riches, but you said all the other fives.
Yeah, the richest. Yeah, everything belongs to Krishna. Krishna is in us, and God is without, and we are in Him, and He is in us. Just meditate about this: that God is in my heart, and at the same time, I'm in God's body, kind of. It's all Brahman. Material Energy is an illusion, a Maya, which is not. Everything is Krishna. There's nothing else there than Krishna. But we separate ourselves because we think of I and mine. We separate, even this harmonium could be used for so many other musical concerts and material musicians. But we use it for the service of the Lord, chanting His holy names, to become spiritualized. But we should go deeper. Even our bodies should at one point get spiritualized if we use them in the service of the Lord. This is Bhagavan. There's only one Bhagavan. In some occasions they describe some personalities of Bhagavan because they have lots of these opulences. But we at the end, we only cheap Elvis imitators. We try to, Elvis Presley, and then they have this cheap imitators who try to, or Michael Jackson imitators. Last time I saw Keanu Reeves from The Matrix. Some real. So we try to imitate, but we try to imitate God. This is our confusion. That's why we are here. And in the beginning of the battlefield, he asked Dhammakshetra, Kurukshetra, Samaveta, Yuyutsavaha, Mamaka Bandavaschaiva, Kuvat, Kim Akuvat Sanjaya. So, Dhritarashtra asked, what happened on the battlefield? Then you might think, like, what do you mean what happened on the battlefield? Like, they fight? Because Sanjay was his counselor, his guru, and he had the vision, he could see what happens on the battlefield. And Dhritarashtra, he was blind, he couldn't see. He couldn't participate, he couldn't see from distance, so he only heard what happens there. So he was anxious, he was eager to hear, okay, what is happening on the battlefield? Let me know. And if I would be Sanjay, I would say, hey dude, it's a battlefield, you fight now. Because Dhritarashtra in this time, he was very bewildered, he was anxious. He asked him, Dhammakshetra, Kurukshetra. It was a religious place, and he knew his sons were the most evil in the whole world. And he knew this war was righteous because the Pandavas were supposed to earn the kingdom. And Dhritarashtra was so on his bodily platform that he wanted everything for his children. It's a sign, not of the divine. Purusha singer. It's 7:45. When do we have to stop? 7:45.
Normally it's
I plan to go in a completely different direction today. So I hope it stops now, this sound. 5 more minutes, I try to conclude. And Dhritarashtra had a conversation with his guru, Sanjaya. And in this, to go back in the first chapter, now we're in the beginning, in the end of the last chapter, the conclusion of the Bhagavad Gita. But to understand the last chapter, we need to understand the first chapter. I think it's called Vishada Yoga, lamentation, Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has for each chapter a specific name. And the yoga of depression and lamentation, the yoga of Arjuna's grief. And to understand the last chapter, and it's also the same instruction. Like we hear, Bhagavad Gita starts with Dhamma Kshetra, and the last instruction is Sava Dhamma Bharityacha. Krishna tells Arjuna, give up all Dhamma. First it starts with Dhamma. Dhritarashtra asks, what happened on the battlefield of Dhamma? Tell me. And then Krishna instructs the whole Bhagavad Gita till the end. And then he says, but you know what, Arjuna? Just kind of forget about everything what I said. Choose, what is your path. But just surrender unto me. Dharma, your duty, Can you tell someone maybe, is it here or upstairs? Or? No. And he tells him, just forget about everything, just surrender unto me. And then Mahasuchaha, have no fear, I will take away all your burden, all your karma, all the pressure of material life. I will take it away, just surrender unto me. So after he speaks about 18 chapters, 700 verses, in the middle of the battlefield, and he says, yeah, just surrender unto me. It's not so important. So simple. And this Dhritarashtra, he had this conversation with his guru Sanjaya. Then we have Krishna and Arjuna, who are best friends. But also Krishna became the guru of Arjuna. And we have another guru-disciple relationship, and this is Duryodhana with Drona. And all of them, Drona is the martial art teacher of the Kurus and the Pandavas. And the Bhagavad Gita in the beginning starts that Sanjaya instructs and tells Dhritarashtra what happens on the battlefield. And Dhritarashtra, he was inquiring. The mood you can't tell from the verse, was it humble, was it inquisitive more, I would say. But the mood of Duryodhana, so Dronacharya, was very challenging and not humble. Like he said, yeah, Dronacharya, because of you, you trained the Pandavas now on the other side, and Bhima and Arjuna, and now they fight against us. So basically it's your fault. It's not like you talk to your guru like this. So this was the mood of Duryodhana, very challenging. And Arjuna was also in the beginning, similar like Duryodhana. He said even, hey Krishna, he says, hey God, can you drive me with the chariot in the middle of the battlefield? I just want to see my opponents first. And Krishna said, okay, cool, I'm Parthasarathi, I'm your driver, let's go. And then he's in the middle of the battlefield and he got bewildered from all these impressions, all these emotions. He sees his family, his uncles, his teachers. So Arjuna was not able to fight anymore. And then he tells Krishna, actually, Krishna, I don't want to fight, give it up. And then even when he surrenders, he still has doubts, He says, I'm a surrendered soul now unto you, please guide me. And then afterwards he says, but still I will not fight. You can instruct me, but I still will not fight. So there are different moods how to deal with our spiritual master. But the only thing what Arjuna differentiates from Duryodhana especially was that he was humble and he was never offensive. Duryodhana was always offensive against the Pandavas, the devotees, against the Lord. He wanted to kill the Lord once when he showed them the universal form. And when Krishna was lying on the bed once in Mahabharata before the war, and then Arjuna and Duryodhana were sitting on his bedside, and Arjuna immediately sat on the lotus feet of the Lord, and Duryodhana went to the face. So when Krishna opened his eyes, he first saw Arjuna. And then he asked Arjuna, he said, because he wanted to know if Krishna will fight, or if Krishna, because he has a big army, the Yadu dynasty, and he had I think 4 Akshahinis or something. So they wanted to know who gets the army, the Kurus or the Pandavas. And so they were waiting, and then Krishna first saw Arjuna, because he was sitting at his lotus feet. So we should always first approach Krishna's lotus feet, take shelter. So Krishna asked him, okay, Arjuna, you can choose first. Do you want me to fight, to be in the battle? But I will not fight. I will not do anything. I will just be a charioteer. Or do you want my army? And Duryodhana was like, oh no, now you will choose the army. And then Arjuna said, of course, Krishna, I want you. I will never do anything without you. And then Duryodhana was thinking, this idiot, oh my God, I can't believe it. And Duryodhana was like, he was so intoxicated by joy. He got the army of Krishna. Little did he know. So Arjuna, he's the devotee, he's the friend of Krishna. He intuitively knew he has to decide for the Lord. Even at this time, he didn't even know exactly who Krishna is until he, revealed his universal form. He knew Krishna is special, and sometimes he was described as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he was not yet aligned that he really surrenders and sees him really as his dear worshipable Lord. So he still saw him as his friend, and at this point of time he saw him as his spiritual master to instruct him. And the whole first chapter, I have 2 minutes left. The whole first chapter, the yoga of lamentation. I gave once a class of this topic from Madhavananda Prabhu. There's a class I remember, and from Bhaktivedanta Goswami, and they go really in depth why we should read the first chapter. Like some people of you know this chat, 1 chapter a day, to read 1 chapter of Bhagavad Gita every day. I participated for a couple of years, but then I stopped it. But now I'm back to it, to read 1 chapter without purpose. It's the best you can do in your life. Read every day a chapter, you're really in the flow, you really know what Krishna wants. And sometimes you tend, let's skip the first chapter, you know. It's like always the same, the names and the battlefield, and kind of boring, you know. I mean, I like the Mahabharata, so I like to read the names because I can connect to them, to the Mahabharata. It's like, wow, the warriors, and I'm getting excited somehow. But sometimes I skip the first chapter. Just read the last 2 verses, and then I started with the second, because then the instruction starts. But and Prabhupada writes actually setting the scene. It's before the first chapter starts. He calls it setting the scene in the Bhagavad Gita. So he sets the scene. To understand the whole Bhagavad Gita, we need to know what is the Bhagavad Gita about, and what is the mood, how to understand the Bhagavad Gita. We can understand the Bhagavad Gita as a yogi, or as a Mahatma Gandhi follower, or as a, I don't know, Kyani, or as a Kami. And everyone who will read the Bhagavad Gita will get something different out of it. But if someone gives the Bhagavad Gita as it is, who realized each word, not just learn the shlokas by heart, who lives this each word, who hears Krishna in his heart, who his whole life practices bhakti, and he can give also Bhagavad Gita in the way we should hear it, with the eyes of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And I don't think the other Bhagavad Gitas, you can all put them like in a corner and say, they all burn them, they're all demoniac. Has all its place, because Sanskrit can be translated in so many ways. And so many high elevated souls have different opinions, and it's okay to express them. Even when you read Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Baladev Vidyabhushan and Prabhupada, they speak sometimes about the soul, sometimes about the super soul. They're not so clear on some points, Atma, what is meant, or is both meant. And I saw a few chapters now, or a few verses, where there's a different purport, and it's a little bit contradictory. So even there are some small, different understandings or views. And like when I read first Bhagavad Gita, I mean, I think everyone who read Bhagavad Gita at one point, we can really relate. We can really, like Arjuna, he was like in grief, he was depressed, he was paralyzed, he didn't know what to do in his life, he had no answers anymore, he needed someone to help him. He was like completely bankruptcy, he had nothing left, he was completely finished at this moment. And we can all relate to this. At one point in our life, we also felt like Arjuna. And then the greatness of Arjuna is in this moment, he turned to the Lord. He said, Krishna, I have nothing left, I don't know what to do, please guide me. I'm a soul surrendered unto you. And then I remember when I read this point, I was also like, wow, this is exactly this I needed to hear, because I tried so many things, nothing helped. And then I could see, the devotees, the holy name, Prabhupada's books, the Bhagavad Gita, it's the answer of everything. And when we really come into this stage of suffering, mentally especially, emotionally, we don't know where to go. And when in this moment we turn to the Lord will definitely reciprocate. Just reflect in your own life how many times you were at this point, and how many times you surrendered to the Lord and prayed and asked for help, and how many times something happened and changed. Because maybe you don't know, maybe you never heard about it before, but I tell you now a secret. I told it already today in pranayama. Because we think we have to work so hard, we have to do everything that Krishna sees us, we have to do everything that we please Krishna, and if we fail, if we follow our maya, and if we don't practice pure devotional service, and if we offend devotees, then Krishna will hate me. No, Krishna loves you. That's the biggest secret. that Krishna loves you. And when we realize this, He loves you as soul, as your being. He loves your body. It's the temple of the soul. He loves everything about you. But we think opposite. We're not this body, it's a chunk of blood and bones. Screw the body. But why you put tilak on your body? Because it represents the temple of the Lord. If we realize, okay, let's end the Bhagavad Gita class today with following the footsteps of Adi Purusha Prabhu. Just for a half a minute, look at every person in the room and see God in the heart and the soul in the heart. Just picture Krishna in the heart. And everyone is smiling. So nice. And that's the key. We have to realize this every day before we chant. Krishna loves me. We're not lost here in this world. It's not like just Krishna just dumps us here and then, okay, now get on with your life. And if you're lucky, if you attract my mercy somehow, you will get it. The mercy is already there. Everything is there. Everything is written here. We can experience the mercy. And every moment. But we always try, instead of surrender in our grief, in our lamentation to the Lord, we try to give in. We try to surrender to our senses, to our monkey mind. And it's all a test. And it says each test Krishna gives is a test to overcome it. Nothing in this world that happens to us is meant to destroy us. Everything is there for us to grow. Like a computer game, certain level, you can't pass this game. You always have to start from the beginning. Especially 20 years ago when you played, and then when you sometimes had to start from right beginning, and there was no memory card, and it was like very But sometimes we don't need to start from the very beginning, but we always go closer to Krishna, and then all of a sudden we got a little bit anxious, When we get too close, not too close. I still I like my life, I wanna stay here. Already Krishna says, no, come on, you're ready, come. Enjoy with me, have fun. No, I wanna suffer a little bit more. But come on, I love you, come. Yes, Krishna, I love you too, but I'm not ready yet. Maybe another lifetime. And another lifetime. And another lifetime. But that's the situation. And this lamentation we should use. And when you have a bad day, trust me, this works. 100% money back guarantee. When you have a bad day, read the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And it says each chapter has a specific effect when you read it. And the first chapter relieves depression and lamentation. Especially when you read with an open heart, open your ears, and really feel the mood of Arjuna, connect with Arjuna. And then the last verses when Arjuna surrenders to Krishna, feel this mood. And then read maybe the first few verses of the second chapter. It's like really amazing. Everything can change just by Shastra, just by Krishna's word. Okay, thank you for your kind attention. Maybe there are some questions, some feedback, realizations, or reflections. Yes, Sanjay Prabhu. Sanjay Uvacha, Dhamma Kshetre, Kuru Kshetre.
I always think that Krishna wants to tell me that I'm a demon, because people tell me Sanjay Uvacha, Dhamma Kshetre, but actually it's Dhritarashtra.
Oh, stimmt. Oh ja.
I always think that Krishna is telling me to see what the rest is.
Yatra Yogeshwaro Krishna. This is Sanjay.
Yeah.
Made a mistake.
That's manipulated. That's what we don't know. I have two doubts. One is that does Krishna really love our material body? Because our material body, it's our covering. It's something that separates us from Him in one sense. We can use it in devotional service, but I heard that Prabhupada also said the material body is an anartha. So that's one doubt, and the other doubt is that I can understand, but maybe you can elaborate. Like, what does it mean? All the Bhagavad Gitas, as they are not, why not burn them? Because that also, again, Srila Prabhupada, he strongly stressed that what's the use of them? They're cheating and they're misusing. A few verses before, Prabhupada is writing the Prabhupada, people are envious of Krishna, and that's why they use his words to present something else. So they don't just write their own book, they make a comment on Krishna's words and twist it. So why would you say it's still something valuable?
Okay, we start with the second question, if it's okay. I don't say all of them are valuable. I think still many are maybe cheating, but many translations, for example, Akriyani translates the Bhagavad Gita, and his ultimate realization is the Brahman and understanding. A yogi would translate the Bhagavad Gita in the eye of a yogi to realize Paramatma. A Bhakta would translate the Bhagavad Gita in focusing on Bhagavan. And there is many points in Bhagavad Gita where it's not so clear. And Prabhupada says, or Vishwanath Chakravarti says actually, that we can only understand Bhagavad Gita in the eyes of the Bhagavatam. When we know devotional service, when we know devotees, when we know how we should read this Bhagavad Gita, because then you just think it's a book about jnana, karma, and some chapters are about bhakti. And now a devotee, a very famous yogi devotee, he also had his commentary about Bhagavad Gita. I can't say now I will throw away his commentary. Because he translated the Bhagavad Gita with the help of the foundation of Prabhupada's words. It's only available in Swedish, but hopefully soon in English. And I would read this Bhagavad Gita, because he will help yogis to understand what is the goal of Bhagavad Gita. When the goal is Krishna, I don't read other Bhagavad Gitas, and I will not tell you now to read other Bhagavad Gitas. But who are we to say, just burn them all and throw them away? For us, our process is clear. We're following Prabhupada. We are trying to be bhakti yogis. We see the Bhagavad Gita in the light of our acharyas, our line. Read the Bhagavad Gita in the line of Ramanujacharya. It's not about Krishna. It's still about bhakti, but it's a complete different approach. We are following Rupa Goswami, Prabhupada, Vrindavan Krishna. Arjuna wants to see Shyamasundara. Or so many acharyas, the commentaries are so bewildering when you read all the commentaries, then which one is now right? So many sampradayas. But for us it's clear in our sampradaya, this Bhagavad Gita. I know this will not satisfy you, but this is all I can say. What is your stand? Burn them all.
So would you say this is an emotional statement that Prabhupada made? Or makes when... He also doesn't say burn them all. So in that way you're not contradicting him. But very strong emphasis.
He says even in the beginning, in the introduction, he says, you can call God as you like. You can call him Ishvara, Paramatma, Bhagavan. You can call him the Brahman. You can call him Parabrahman, or you can call him Krishna, Prabhupada says. And all of this is true. It's in the end of the introduction of the Bhagavad Gita. And he says there's many Bhagavad Gitas, and why should I write a new one? There's so many translations. But he said, like I mentioned, the Gebrauchsanweisung, the manual, like the medicine etiquette, you don't know how to take it properly. And you can read the Bhagavad Gita and you get some benefit out of it, and maybe you start... I know so many people who read other Bhagavad Gitas who became devotees later. They start their process, but to know the truth, to know Krishna in person, you need to listen to the Bhagavad Gita from someone who saw Krishna. So for us, no question to read something else. And your first question was?
The material body.
Jiva Goswami says we only suffer in this material body because we identify with it. And Krishna's creation is everything is beautiful. Krishna loves everything. His own energies. We are all his energies. Tatashta Shakti. Yes. In the spiritual world, or Nanda Maharaj, he showed us all his energies. Radharani, everything is his energy. Even this body, Maya Devi, is his dear servant to help us become purified. I think most of our problems is that we hate our body. When I was new Bhakta, I said this once in a temple, I hate my body, I'm always tired and I need to eat and digest and sleep. And that's one devotee was shouting with me. He was really angry. Like, how can you say this? This is a gift of the Lord. That you can practice devotional service. Do you want to be a pig or a donkey? Like, okay. So appreciate your body. And I was just with another book of another Vaishnavi. She writes a book about the ego and the mind and Krishna conscious psychology. And she said, I mean, she quotes scriptures, but we say, what is it? If I'm not identified, sorry, I can't quote it now, forget it. Don't want to say something wrong. But something with identification, Maya, that is what is not. I will get it and for next time I will mention this point. But the body is so important. Spirituality starts with our body. It's the closest we have, and we don't even take care of our body. We want to take care of the temple, we want to take care of our car, we want to take care of the whole world, spread Krishna consciousness, and when we are 50 we have problems with our lungs, with our back, we can't walk anymore, we have diabetes, we have all kinds of diseases, we shake in the cold, and we die when we are 60, and we preach a little bit, but we could do so much more. And it's my own reflection, realization is that I don't love my body. And that's why I'm stuck in this body and have so many problems. But the more I realize actually it's given by Krishna. When you put Vaishnava Tilak, it's a temple of the Lord. It's like so precious actually, the body. The mind can be your best friend, your worst enemy. Imagine the mind is your friend, your best friend. Hey buddy. Mind over matter. We need to learn to make the mind to our friend. And we treat our body like when we treat our body like stool, then the body will react. We treat the body with love. Somebody said once he had problems with her liver and he said, just apologize to your liver. So, what? We need so many things in our life to degrade ourselves, eat the wrong things and drugs, alcohol, intoxication, meat. Yeah, it's not our body. It's Krishna's body. And as long as we use the body for our own sense gratification, we will suffer. And it's not working, it doesn't work out. But if we use the body for the Lord, then it's great. It's a great gift. First be conscious, then be Krishna conscious. First love yourself. How you want to love Krishna when you can't even love yourself? I'm not speaking about the body now, but if we not even love ourselves as part and parcels of Krishna. We say to devotees like, selfless service, you have to be selfless. What does it mean to be selfless? To be less of yourself. What means selfish? To only think about yourself. It's the same coin, just two different sides. You have to be self-aware. Arjuna became self-aware who he is. The whole Bhagavad Gita is about, hey Arjuna, you are not the body. You are not the mind. You are my part, please. And then Krishna gives him so many ways. Do this, do that, meditate, think about me, work for me, renounce your results. Or love me, just be my devotee. But if you can't do this, then do that. And he gives so many ways. I don't know which Bhagavad Gita I saw once from a devotee. He studied both in another Bhagavad Gita and he made not from our line, some yogi Bhagavad Gita. And he showed me all the Sanskrit and everything and I couldn't answer him anything he showed me because his Sanskrit was better than mine, his understanding was better than mine. I just know because I read the purport what it means, but I couldn't tell him actually why is it here completely different. But Sanskrit has so many meanings. And that we need to hear from the right source. And the right source is our spiritual master, it's Prabhupada. And Prabhupada was told, hey, somebody told him on the street that he should, why he distribute these small books like leaflets? People can throw it away. Why don't you have big books so people can't throw it away? And Prabhupada said, okay, yes, we have to print more big books, distribute more big books. And then the doctor told him, hey, you're not in a good condition, you should go for a walk. And the Prabhupada start everyday morning walks. It's like, just hear from someone, okay, you saw the sign of Krishna, I should take care of my body. Anyways, it's a big topic. Somebody else wants to reflect? We need to stop soon, I have to drive home also. Yeah?
There's just a question in chat. Shri Mataji is asking, why is it in Sattva Gun to sleep less than 6 hours? Or 6 hours?
Yeah, Sattvic sleep. Tamaguna is, for example, when you sleep like 12 hours and like long time. When you sleep in tamas, you feel completely finished the next day. Like you slept less. But if you artificially sleep less than 6 hours, what we all did as monks in the Brahmacharya ashram, what we still do, because now it's almost 9, and then you drink some milk, and you talk with some friends, and you read Krishna book, and then it's already 10, and tomorrow you have to wake up at 4, and you will be very tired, you will be not fully functional. It's also tamaguna. But it should be natural, like whoever was in love of you in your life, completely in love, like you only can think of this person, you can't eat anymore, you can't sleep anymore, you only want to see this person. In the morning you wake up, you don't need an alarm clock, you're fully excited. Imagine you're in love with God. You wake up like this, wow, I want to see Krishna. And you have this in festivals, sometimes you don't sleep much, we completely, on festivals you see you go above Sattva Guna. But then our body can't take it and then we fall back into Tamaguna. But Vishuddha Sattva, Prabhupada, he was so inspired, he couldn't stop translating the books. So he was above the material modes. He slept 3 hours a day, or the Goswamis. They didn't need much sleep anymore. But 6 hours is still considered sattvic. If you sleep 7 hours, I don't know if you can say rajasic or tamasic. But if you don't sleep enough, we need enough sleep. Depends which dosha you have. Like I need to sleep 7-8 hours, otherwise I'm not functional. So go early to bed, wake up early. If you regulate your food, you're eating, then also you can wake up early in the morning, no problem. Okay, this was online question, right? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, one last question.
Because how is it that on the beginning this tells that this Bhagavad Gita, this conversation never took place again and before? How is it? Because I thought that this is regular, that this is in every Dwapara Yuga, this is Lila Krishna, and every time it's Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah.
So how is?
I mean, it's from Prabhupada. It's from Prabhupada here to stress the point how important this conversation is, and maybe in this same way it will never happen again. It's always a little bit different.
This way, that it takes place, but
Yeah.
maybe some changes. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I was not there, but he spoke it already before to Sangat. It was already spoken before, but in this constellation, on this time, in this yuga, in this universe, like this, it's only like once. It can be only once. In another yuga, we'll speak it again, but it's a different cycle and maybe different Lord Brahma and Manu. Okay, thank you for kind attention. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki chai. Prabhupada ki chai.